The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning to you, 5 a.m. on a finally Friday. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
17 News is your local election headquarters, and we kicked off our series of local debates ahead of the midterm elections in November last night, with Republicans Jeff Flores and Brian Smith taking the stage. They're both running for Kern's 3rd District Supervisorial seat. The hour-long debate featured their political stances, mainly, and how they'd handle different situations, like your typical debate. But Flores, as a member of the Kern High Board of Trustees, gave an answer we were not expecting when he was asked about the ongoing opioid issues at high schools and his absence from the North High School parent meeting on Tuesday.
For the record, my understanding is there was not a fentanyl overdose. Medical professionals that arrived on scene to treat the student said there was no indication of opiate use. However, it was a marijuana vape pen.
Flores did stress that student safety was one of his top priorities, the importance of fentanyl awareness, and that preventing drugs from getting into school was an issue he cares about. But his remark came as a shocking development after outcries from parents at North High and the presence of opioids and fentanyl seen at schools across Kern County. 17's Jim Scott followed up on that remark, and Flores doubled down.
We want to keep our students safe.
Did I hear you correctly saying you didn't believe that you don't believe there were any overdoses within the high school district?
I said opiates and fentanyl, because the medical professionals that were on scene said there was no indication of opiates. There was marijuana vape pens. People were sick and were transported by ambulance.
We had a number of parents who were called to the school because their children had collapsed. And
well, I know you can collapse from other things other than fentanyl. You can collapse from marijuana. You can collapse from a whole plethora of drugs, illicit drugs. But according to the medical professionals in Kern County Fire Department and nursing that saw the students, there was no indication of opiate overdose.
That runs counter to what we've been reporting and what the school district actually said following the initial reports.
That's what the superintendent reported to me. So if you've got something contrary from the district, I'd like to talk about it.
Now, to Jim's point, North High came out on their meeting on Tuesday confirming the use of fentanyl at their school and at other schools in the Kern High School District.
I don't want to send a message that fentanyl is not present in our schools. We know it is. We're trying to work with you to address the opioid problem in this community. This includes the use of fentanyl, which we've seen effects of here at North High School recently.
Now, the debate had other highlights, like when a viewer questioned a mailer Flores paid for that was sent to registered Democrats, and Smith taking shots during that portion. And the mailer asked voters to vote straight Democratic and featured Flores' name and picture with images of Governor Newsom and Barack Obama.
Well, in this, I just think it was kind of deceiving to put a mailer out there that says that he is a Democrat on there. If it's for me...
Well, the mailer didn't say that, first of all.
Actually, it just had you on there and said vote.
It did not say I was a Democrat. We could
no, it said vote for these Democrats.
No, you just said
right? You just said I was for these Democrats.
I think we described it.
You said the mailer was a Democrat. I was a Democrat. It did not say I was a Democrat.
Yeah, we described it accurately.
Because long call times put people in jeopardy. You know, fortunately, we live.
Now, if you missed this debate and want to learn more about the candidates, it will be broadcast again on KGET this Saturday at 6 p.m.
17 Court Watch now on a woman accused of driving under the influence when she crashed her car into a home along Taft Highway has now been charged with 3 felonies. According to the Superior Court website, 26-year-old Madison Williams is charged with 2 DUI injury offenses and a charge of causing an occupied building to burn. The crash happened around 12:30 in the morning on September 14th. Investigators say Williams drove into a home at Old River Road and Taft Highway, seriously injuring the family inside, including a toddler. Williams told officers she couldn't see in the moments leading up to the crash because there's no light in the area. Officers said she smelled of alcohol. Williams is currently free on $20,000 bail.
And after being downgraded to a tropical storm, here we go again. Ian has now strengthened again to a Category 1 hurricane. It is churning now in the Atlantic and taking aim at the Carolinas for a second landfall set for later today. The storm left an enormous path of destruction, though, across the state of Florida. NBC's Chris Pallone has the latest this morning.
With Ian finally out of Florida, the intensely destructive storm is now taking aim at the Carolinas.
Friday is not going to be a pretty day in the low country.
People in coastal areas taking the storm seriously after seeing what happened in Florida.
We went and got some extra things like water, bread. Grocery stores are selling out of everything really quick.
After blasting the beach towns of the Southwest, Ian dumped rain for hours over central Florida. Firefighters evacuated an Orlando nursing home Thursday after floodwaters rushed in. The first daylight Thursday gave state officials a true scope of the destruction.
Some of the damage was, almost indescribable.
In Placida, storm chasers captured the destruction wrought by Ian's eye wall. In Fort Myers and Naples, entire neighborhoods were wiped out by storm surge and 150-mile-per-hour winds. Rescue teams went into the water to save people left stranded.
Our staff, police, fire, public works, parks got out there and made close to about 200 water rescues.
Sanibel Island now accessible only by boat or helicopter after the only bridge washed out.
The search and rescue teams are on the island, going door to those areas that they can get to right now, trying to help those individuals.
It's a race against time to save lives. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Naples, Florida.
And now more than 700 trained Red Cross disaster workers, including 9 from the Central Valley, are in Florida ready to help. 2 of those volunteers are from Kern County. Volunteers will be working around the clock to offer support and comfort to those in need. They are prepared to help as many as 60,000 people.
And President Biden has warned Ian may be responsible for substantial loss of life. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington this morning with the latest on the federal response to the catastrophic storm.
A revived Hurricane Ian makes its way north this morning after tearing through parts of Florida and causing catastrophic damage.
I literally watched my house disappear with everything in it. Right before my eyes.
Officials are assessing the aftermath, estimating 250,000 Floridians were displaced. At least a dozen have died. That number only expected to rise in the coming days.
This could be the deadliest hurricane in Florida's history.
President Biden pledging full federal support for Florida during his visit to FEMA headquarters, approving a major disaster declaration that includes funding for temporary housing and home repairs. Mr. Biden also vowing to work closely with Governor Ron DeSantis on what's expected to be a long road to recovery.
However long it takes, we're going to be there. That's my commitment to you.
As Floridians take stock of the damage, Hurricane Ian is now on track to make a second U.S. landfall, bringing damaging winds and torrential rain to South Carolina.
We know there's going to be more in Charleston.
Georgia and North Carolina are also bracing for fierce impacts.
So for North Carolinians, I want to be clear. This storm can still be dangerous and even deadly.
President Biden urging those in impacted areas to heed the warnings from emergency officials, stressing the dangers of Hurricane Ian will continue throughout the weekend. President Biden is expected to deliver remarks on the federal response to Ian later today and says he will visit Florida as soon as conditions allow. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for NBC News.
Happening around the nation, tomorrow is the 5-year anniversary of the shooting in Las Vegas that took the lives of 60 people, including 4 people from Kern County. It happened October 1st, 2017, when a gunman opened fire from his hotel room on a crowd attending the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival on the Vegas Strip. 58 people were killed initially in the incident. 2 died in 2020 from complications after being shot. More than 800 others were hurt. And most of the people attending the Route 91 festival were from California, including dozens from Kern. 4 people from our area were killed that night. These are their faces. Bailey Schweitzer was just 20 years old. She was the youngest victim of that shooting. Jack Beaton died a hero, physically shielding his wife from gunfire. And then there's Victor Link, a loan processor from Wasco who was attending the concert with his fiancée. And Kelsey Meadows, a 28-year-old substitute school teacher in Taft.
1, go.
Meantime, Mayor Carolyn Goodman unveiling this sculpture yesterday in Las Vegas. The sculpture honors those lost on that fateful day. It is called Fight of healing and stands 10 feet tall. The sculpture's central tree trunk embodies strength, and the butterflies represent healing and a guiding light. The project was funded through the Mayor's Fund for the Las Vegas Life to support key city initiatives. The whole project costs about $39,000.
And members of the local cycling community will take place in a bike ride tomorrow honoring the victims of the shooting. They will ride 58 miles long for the 58 people originally killed. The ride was organized by Bakersfield resident Joel Shaddy, who was at the event with his wife Kathy. The ride's open to the public. It will begin at Beach Park at 7 a.m. The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.